From a gossip empire changing hands overnight to a romance built entirely on grief. Starting with number 8, introduction of a new Lady Whistledown. At the end of season 4, Penelope Featherington did the unthinkable. She retired, hung up her quill, and finally stepped out of the shadows as Lady Whistledown, except someone didn't get the memo. Because immediately after Penelope's grand exit, a new Whistledown pamphlet hit the streets. It had all the same scandal and bite as Lady Whistledown's old notes, but it was clearly written by someone else. This is where Netflix diverges from the books. In Julia Quinn's novels, the mystery ends when Penelope is revealed, and that's it. But the show asked, what if it didn't? And created an entirely original storyline that the book never touched. So, who's the new Whistledown? Nobody knows, and that's the problem, or the genius, depending on how you look at it. The original Whistledown worked because Penelope had access. She was invisible at every ball, ignored in every corner, and people talked freely around her like she didn't exist. She built an intelligence network out of being underestimated. But now, Penelope's source network is gone. She's a published author with the Queen's endorsement. People know who she is. So whoever picked up the pen has to have their own connections, or be someone we've already seen. The new pamphlet isn't about witty gossip anymore. They want blood. Whoever's writing it is ruthless, and season 5 looks set to shake everything up. Number 7, Lady Mondrich's strategic rise. Alice Mondrich just became the most important person in the room, and half the ton doesn't even realize it yet. Throughout season 4, Alice played the long game. She engineered Sophie Beckett's social legitimacy, navigated the Queen's court, and positioned herself as indispensable. In the end, it all paid off when she became the Queen's chief lady-in-waiting, which gives her access, influence, and real power. With Lady Danbury gone, the Queen needs a new strategist, and Alice is right in the middle of every secret, every scandal, and every move happening in the ton. In the books, the Mondrichs barely matter. They run a club on the sidelines and don't affect the main drama. The show changed that, turning Alice into a major player. What makes her fascinating is that she wasn't born into aristocracy. She earned her place, which means she understands both sides of the class divide in ways the titled nobility never will. She knows what it's like to be underestimated, to walk into a room where everyone assumes you don't belong, and now she can use that knowledge for real power. The new Whistledown might be working in the shadows, but Alice Mondrich is operating in broad daylight. And in Bridgerton, the most dangerous player is often the one nobody saw coming. Number 6, Penelope and Colin transition to published authors. Penelope didn't just retire from Whistledown, she leveled up. With Queen Charlotte's blessing, she's transitioning into a legitimate novelist. She's done with secret identities and hiding behind scandal sheets. And now, she's building her reputation under her own name. Colin is right there with her, both of them published authors, which sounds romantic until you remember what that meant for women in Regency England. Penelope spent years as an invisible powerhouse. She controlled the narrative, shaped reputations, and took down anyone who crossed her, all while staying completely untouchable because nobody knew it was her. Now she's visible and vulnerable, and a new Whistledown is out there doing what she used to do. The show is setting up something really interesting. Penelope has gone from wallflower to gossip queen to published author, and now she's in a position to investigate. She built the whole Whistledown operation from scratch, so she knows how it works, where the information flows, and how to tell when someone's lying. Now she has to decide whether to expose the new writer or let them operate in the shadows. She understands better than anyone what it's like to need that kind of power when the world won't give it to you. Number 5, Lady Danbury's retirement and absence. Lady Danbury is leaving, and that's a much bigger deal than it might seem at first. Stepping away from court also means closing her house and walking away from the role she has quietly held for years. Lady Danbury has been the architect behind nearly every major power move in Bridgerton. She mentored the Sharmas, guided the Mondrichs, and kept the Queen in check when no one else could. She's been the strategist, the fixer, the person everyone leaned on when the social chessboard got complicated. And now she's gone. The books don't do this. In Julia Quinn's novels, Lady Danbury remains a constant presence. But the show decided that her story has reached its natural endpoint, and honestly, it tracks. She's spent decades playing the game, winning more often than not. Maybe she's just tired, or maybe she thinks the next generation needs to figure it out without her hovering over every move. Her absence is going to create a vacuum, and in Bridgerton, vacuums don't stay empty for long. When the smartest person in the room leaves, everyone suddenly realizes how much they were relying on her. Number 4, Francesca's grief-centered romantic arc. Francesca Bridgerton got married at the end of season 3, and by the end of season 4, she's a widow. John Sterling dies suddenly from a brain aneurysm, and just like that, her whole life is turned upside down. She's barely had time to enjoy being his wife before she's facing life without him. And Michaela Sterling, John's cousin, and the woman Francesca clearly has feelings for, exits immediately after the funeral, leaving nothing but unresolved tension and grief in her wake. The show is doing something the books never attempted. In Julia Quinn's novels, Francesca's romance with Michael happens after her husband's death, but it's framed as a fairly straightforward romance. Netflix said, "What if we made it hurt?" And they did. Because season 5 isn't going to be Francesca's love story. It's going to be her grief story. It's the emotional groundwork for what comes later. Showrunner Jess Brownell confirmed that Francesca's central arc is still coming, which means season 5 is set. And that's brutal, because the audience knows where this is going. Francesca and Michaela are meant to be together, but first Francesca has to survive losing the man she married, understand what that loss means, and rebuild herself from scratch. This kind of romance feels different. It's built on loss and shared history. If Netflix leans into it, Francesca's story could be Bridgerton's most powerful arc. Number 3, Violet Bridgerton's late life romance. Violet Bridgerton is dating, and the Ton has plenty of opinions. She's been seeing Marcus Anderson, Lady Danbury's brother, and by Regency standards, it's time to make things official, a proper marriage with all the formalities. But Violet isn't a young debutante. She's a widow, a matriarch, and spent decades raising 8 children and running the Bridgerton family. Does she really need to remarry just because society says so? The show is exploring something the books barely touch, which is what love looks like later in life. Violet has power and independence. If she chooses to remarry, it will be because she wants to, not because society expects it. But marriage would change everything. Her family, the household, and her role as the family's emotional center. Society is already pressuring her to follow the rules she has spent decades mastering. The real question the show is asking is whether a woman can pursue love without losing herself. And for Violet, that is the story that matters. Number 2, Benedict and Sophie, expansion into parenthood. Benedict and Sophie survived the illegitimacy scandal, got engaged, and in season 5, they're expecting a child, and that changes everything. Benedict has spent the series figuring out his place in the world. As a second son and an artist, he's always been searching for purpose. He's never been the heir, and he's not even the spare anymore. Soon, he's going to become a father. The show is using parenthood to explore generational change. Benedict and Sophie aren't just starting a family, they're redefining what family means in the Ton. Sophie was born illegitimate, but Benedict chose her anyway. Their child will be legitimate, yet also the product of a marriage that broke social rules. And that matters, because the Ton operates on bloodlines and legitimacy, where children inherit titles, wealth, and status based on birth. Benedict and Sophie are showing a future where love and choice matter more than pedigree. The books cover this story later, but the show is accelerating it. Parenthood shifts the focus from whether Benedict and Sophie end up together to what kind of world they're building for the next generation. It's a quieter storyline, but thematically one of Bridgerton's most important. If the show is about progress, this is exactly how it proves it. Number 1, Eloise Bridgerton's intellectual and romantic focus. Eloise Bridgerton has spent 4 seasons rejecting marriage, romance, and basically everything the Ton stands for. And now she's falling in love, but not in the way anyone expected. In the books, her romance with Sir Philip Crane starts after Marina's death. They write letters, talk about books, philosophy, and over time, that connection turns into something more. The show introduced Philip back in season 1, and with Marina's story diverging from the novels, his character is wide open for reinterpretation. What's interesting is that Eloise's romance isn't happening at balls or through society gossip. It's private, intellectual, and built on ideas, not appearances. Eloise, the one Bridgerton sister who refused to play the game, is discovering that maybe love isn't about the game at all. Maybe it's about being seen for who you really are, not who society expects you to be. There's also the chance Theo Sharp could return, the printer's apprentice she connected with in season 2. That storyline never fully resolved, and bringing him back alongside Philip could create some real tension. Netflix seems to be setting up a love story that's quiet and thoughtful. It's not about grand gestures or ballroom drama. It's about 2 people connecting through their ideas and conversations, slowly realizing they don't want to let go. And for Eloise, the woman who swore she'd never marry, that might be the only kind of love story that actually works.